Hello everyone and welcome to my first painting video. So today we've got an old Jaguar in the booth. It's been media blasted along with 4 racks of parts that go with the car. Don't know what year it is. If I had to say, it's probably a 50s or 60s car. Really not too familiar with Jaguars at all. So I'm just kind of guessing. I asked a couple people in the shop, and the people I asked weren't sure what year it was either. So either way, it's a pretty cool car, and I'm happy I'm the guy that got to at least throw some primer on it. All the car and the parts have been media blasted. The day prior to this day, I spent about an hour and a half or so. I blew everything off outside real good, and as you can see here, sometimes I'll go ahead and give some of the parts an extra spray down just for peace of mind. I mean, they should be good. You know, I wouldn't have brought them in the booth if they weren't good, but you know how it is sometimes. So anyways, I'm using an Iwata LPH 200. It's my pressure pot gun. It is my gun, it's not the company's gun. And I actually bought this gun off of eBay. I got it for fairly cheap, $225, which I thought was pretty good. Apparently it was used as a demo gun. Everything, you know, it seemed to be in good shape when I got it, you know. I mean, it had signs of being used, but I wouldn't say it was overly used or anything. I mean, the gun sprays great. You know, I wouldn't even think of really having to replace any parts on it. Looks fine to me. So yeah, that's my gun of choice for today. I'm spraying some North Star EP210LG primer, epoxy primer. It's mixed. To mix it as a primer, it's 1:1 to half. And if you're not too paint savvy, that's 1 part primer to 1 part activator to half a part reducer. You can also mix this North Star stuff up as a sealer if you'd like. The mix ratio changes from 1:1 to half to 1:1 to 3/4. So basically you just end up thinning it out a little bit more. It's some alright stuff. I like it, don't really have any complaints about it. Other than being mixed up as a primer, it is a bit thicker, and you'll see throughout this video that I have to stop a couple of times due to some buildup. I don't know if it was actually due to the primer or not, but I had some kind of buildup coming through my lines, and I had to stop a couple of times and kind of hammer my trigger to get it cleared out. I do take real good care of my guns. You know, they get cleaned after anything I paint, no matter how big or small the job is. So, and the pot is the company's pot along with the lines. You know, I flush everything out if I'm using my pressure pot with lacquer thinner. Everything gets flushed out. But anybody who's painted with a pressure pot knows that you still kind of get some junk coming through your lines. Maybe some stuff's breaking off from inside the lines. It's kind of hard to tell. Just kind of deal with it. But so yeah, when you see me stop and kind of hammer the trigger, just trying to get my lines cleared up, because I know that I should be getting more paint than what I am. So yeah, there's really not too much else to explain in this video. As far as gun setup goes, I'm using, let's see, 2 turns in from full out for my fan. I usually run between 3/4 and 1 full turn out from fully closed on my fluid. And for pressure, I usually run between 36 and 38 psi. I think the manual recommends 36. That'll get you your 10 at the air cap. But anybody who's painted just kind of adjusts it until the gun sprays to their liking. So I usually keep it. It seems to spray fine with the 36. I usually bump it up a little bit more. At least I've started to bump. The more I paint with the gun, kind of learned just from using it that it likes a bit more air pressure with this primer. So and so yeah, I think that's really all there is to explain. And you can see the situation at hand is pretty straightforward. 4 racks of parts, and somebody's got quite the project going on. I'd like to see this car when it's finished, but I don't know who owns it or anything about it other than it's getting primered. So before I cut out here and leave you with some tunes, later on in this video, when I go to spray the outside of the car, my camera gets jostled. I had to move a ladder out of my way, and I believe that's when it happened. My camera kind of gets jostled, so it's pointing more down, which is kind of disappointing because I really wanted to get some footage of me spraying the outside of the car, but it is what it is. This is my first action camera that I've ever owned, ever used, so I'm kind of learning the ins and outs of all that good stuff. But anyways, yeah, I didn't get any footage of actually spraying all the inside of the car, like the engine compartment and the trunk and underneath, because I just thought it would be too awkward to try to have the camera on my head, even though it is pretty small. You know, I had to do some crawling around in there, make sure I got all the in all the cracks and crevices. So, but you can kind of see as I'm spraying the outside of the car later on that part has already been done, all the inside parts. So, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd appreciate a like and subscribe if you've got the time. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.
You can't stop it now.